Let's start now to explore the way VS Code helps us with web design. And currently I have opened VS Code in a empty new folder. I called it web. It will be available as a resource for you, the final state of it. Let's first see what content assist we get from VS Code for HTML files. So for this I will create a new file and I will call it index.html. Alright, and let me tell you from the start that VS Code is very, very powerful when it comes to HTML files and web development. And the reason for this is the built-in code snippets. They are usually called, for HTML, they are called Emmet abbreviations. And notice this empty HTML file. Now if I will press the exclamation mark, you'll see I will directly get an Emmet abbreviation, this one right here. If it doesn't appear for you, so let me press escape. If it doesn't appear for you, you can press Ctrl space to trigger this, you know, like we trigger any content assist with the documentation. And notice from the start we have like two options, with one with a smaller boilerplate, this one with doctype HTML, and if I select the other one and I press enter, I will get from start a very simple boilerplate regarding HTML, and this is one of the most useful one in my opinion, one that I use all the time. And for VS Code we have this kind of code snippets or Emmet abbreviations for anything we might want to do. And as a lecture for this, as a resource for this lecture, I will give you the links to the documentation from Emmet and for VS Code for this great feature. And what can we do with this feature? Basically anything we like, anything we will type right here. Maybe I want to select or to create an age element. As you can see, as soon as I press any key right here, for example, I want to press the age, I get a content assist and an Emmet abbreviation for exactly what I want to do. Let's say I want to create an H1, and it will create me both of the tags and with the cursor pointed out right here. Maybe let's say right here, hello, something like this. But you know, these Emmet abbreviations are very powerful. For example, the most common element, let's say, is the div. I can say it right here, the div. But usually with the div, Emmet will know that we can give even IDs or classes to our elements. And if I don't specify anything, I can specify the only dot. And let's just say right here, wrapper, like this. It will give me a Emmet abbreviation that is a div and a wrapper. Inside here I can maybe specify a h3 element. Then if I press a hash, it will create an HTML h3 element with the hash, maybe something like this, top, with the ID top. And here I can specify my entries right here. Again, we can take this to the next level. Maybe we can wrap elements inside, and what can we say? We can say something like div, and let's say that we want a div with an unordered list. I can say it like this, div, I want then inside this div I want an unordered list, and inside this unordered list I want some element, like this. And directly I will have a Emmet entry for this. With just a few keystrokes I can simply have this like this. Maybe I want another entry right here, not with child elements but with like related elements. Maybe I want a div and then something like another div like this, and then maybe, you know, like an UL, something like this. Alright, and this time with the plus signal or the plus sign, this will give me other entries regarding this. They are not nested, they are related to one another, you know, and this thing can go on forever. One last point which I want to show you, I don't want to make this lecture too long. Let's say that we want a list with 5 elements. So here I can say a UL, I create a UL with an LI, then I can multiply it by 5. Or I can multiply it by no matter what I want. I click enter and then I will have a list with 5 entries. This is, in a few words, the Emmet abbreviation and their power. As I said, it is much more powerful and you can take a lot of time to explore it. I'm sure that it will help you a lot with your programming HTML files. And I want to end this lecture by talking a little about the extensions. For example, if we will search HTML extensions, I already showed you this, these HTML snippets, you know what we did until now. Basically, until a few time ago, this was a great extension, but by now most of the functionality inside this extension is included in VS Code, so this extension is deprecated. You know, you can search for all kinds of HTML extensions. What I find very interesting is the auto rename tag. This is the one, and my assumption is that at some point VS Code will already also include this functionality directly as default. Basically, what this extension does is that when you will rename a tag, the closing tag will also be renamed. Very useful, but I let you also explore this. Let's move on into the next lecture and talk about CSS support for VS Code.